What if everything we think we know about life is just a fraction of the truth? Right now, we believe we are making choices, creating success, and navigating challenges. But what if we are actually trapped in lower states of consciousness without even realizing? There are 6 levels of awareness, and most people never escape the first two. They spend their entire lives reacting, chasing, and struggling, thinking this is just how life is supposed to be. But once we see the full picture, we can never unsee it. So by the end of this video, we won't just understand the 6 levels, we will know exactly where we are at and what it takes to break free. And when it gets to stage number 5, life feels different. So stay tuned. Stage number 1 is the survival stage or the suffering stage. This is when we experience life as happening to us. This is where most people begin, and it's not a great place to be. It's not a pleasant state. In this stage, we believe life is out of control, life is chaotic, things just happen randomly, circumstances, luck, fate, or even other people seem to be in charge of your destiny. This stage is characterized by emotional and mental pain or feeling powerless. You feel like you're constantly struggling and there is a constant sense of hardship. In this stage, you react to life instead of shaping it. You feel like you have no control, and so you try and exert more control over people, situations to compensate for that feeling of powerlessness. You blame external factors like your job, relationships, fate, luck, government for your suffering. Fear, anxiety, and frustration dominate your thoughts. This stage is marked by lack of self-awareness about personal power and control. In this stage, you are just getting by rather than living. You see, at this stage, life is a constant struggle, and the idea of personal growth feels almost impossible. But something shifts, and that brings us to stage number 2, the empowered stage. That is when we realize that we are not a victim after all. We realize that life doesn't happen to us, it happens by us. Here is where things start getting interesting. We stop being a victim, and we realize that, hey, I can actually change things. You have a better sense of self, you have a healthy self-esteem, you are motivated, progressive, focused on growth, goals, becoming better, changing your circumstances, and you take actions, you hustle, you grind, you set goals, you make things happen, and you feel great when you hit a milestone or reach a goal. You feel like you can make real changes with your willpower, your focus, and action. In this stage, you have strong analytical abilities, you are pragmatic, intellectual, and find comfort in predictability and structure. So you take action, and this action leads to this result. You follow success models and consistently achieve what you set your mind to. But this stage has a hidden trap. It still comes from a place of control, forcing life to obey your will instead of working with it. Most personal development stops here. People get addicted to the hustle, believing that effort alone creates success. So they grind day and night, sacrificing their time, energy, and often their joy to reach the destination they've set for themselves. But when they get there, the cycle starts all over again. I've seen people work for decades to buy a house, only to immediately set their sight on a bigger, better one, trapped in an endless loop of chasing more or creating more with their willpower alone. But what happens? At some point, overwhelm and burnout creeps in. You are doing everything right, but something still feels off. Life is no longer fun. You feel stagnant. That is when the next shift happens. So in this stage, you realize that life happens in you. This is where things go internal. You begin to realize that life isn't just about external world or factors. The quality of your life also depends on what goes on in you internally, how you process the external world, how you interpret what happens in the external world, how you interpret your experiences. you realize that it's more about how you perceive and interpret what's happening around you or in your experiences. You see that suffering isn't always caused by external factors or events, but instead what goes on in your own mind. It's not about what happens to you, but how you perceive that event or experience. For example, two people can go through the same exact experience. One spirals into depression while the other one laughs it off. What's the difference? Perception. One person views failure as proof that they are not good enough. The other sees it as a stepping stone, even something to be grateful for. One person loses their job and falls into despair, thinking this is the worst thing that could happen. Another one sees it as an opportunity, maybe a push from the universe towards something better. At this level, you start experiencing a deeper sense of inner peace. You are no longer just a doer, constantly reacting to life. You are becoming an observer, watching your thoughts, your emotions, and realizing that struggle isn't necessary. It's a choice. Suffering isn't necessary. It's a choice. And then just when you think you've figured things out, something flips everything upside down. And that is what brings you to stage number 4. This is when you realize that life happens for you. This is a big leap. Suddenly you realize something profound, something that completely changes how you experience life. What if everything in my life, good or bad, is actually happening for me instead of to me or against me? At first, this idea seems almost too radical. How could failure, pain, and struggle possibly be happening for me? But then you start looking at your past, the heartbreak, the disappointments, the moments when everything fell apart, and you notice something. Every struggle led to growth. Every loss cleared space for something better. Every setback contained a lesson for you that shaped you in the long run. So you begin to see that life is not punishing you, it's teaching you. Challenges are not obstacles blocking your path, they are the path. So instead of resisting pain, you ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of dwelling on why something shouldn't have happened, you start asking, why did it happen? What wisdom or gift was in this challenge? So at this level, life stops feeling like a constant struggle. It starts feeling like a gift. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Difficult people become mirrors, reflecting something you need to work on or heal within yourself. Instead of fear, you feel trust. Trust that even when things don't go according to your plan, they're still unfolding perfectly. You stop controlling and start allowing. You stop resisting and start flowing, and that changes everything. Now, the real magic happens in the next stage, that is stage number 5, when you realize that life is happening through you. At this stage, something fundamental shifts. You no longer feel like an individual struggling to make life happen. Instead, you feel like life is moving through you. You are no longer pushing, forcing, or trying to control every outcome. Instead, everything unfolds with an almost effortless precision, as if universe or God is working through you. Creativity flows effortlessly. Ideas come fully formed, as if they're simply waiting to be discovered. Actions feel guided, almost intuitive. You stop second guessing yourself because you know what to do before you even think about it. You don't force outcomes, they naturally emerge. Instead of wrestling with life, you start dancing with it. So life is no longer an effort, it's pure creative expression. This is the stage where athletes, creators, and visionaries draw their best performance from. Some call it the flow state or the zone, but it goes beyond that. At this stage, flow becomes your natural state of being. You're no longer a separate person trying to shape reality. You begin to feel like a vessel for something greater than yourself. Inspiration moves through you. Life moves through you. And then there is the final stage, the one that changes everything. Stage number 6, when you realize that life is you. This is when the illusion of separation dissolves. There is no you separate from life. There is only life. Fear disappears, because what is there to fear? Because you are life and you are death and you are life beyond. It's just like on a journey, you may change costumes or you may change vehicles, but you remain and the journey continues. So you stop chasing meaning, because you are meaning. You are what gives meaning to life. This is the level reached by spiritual masters, mystics, and those who have awakened to the full truth of existence. Sounds impossible? It's not. It's just the natural progression of human consciousness. And now that you see the roadmap, you're already on your way. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.